they can't have their cake and eat it too, right? You can say that you don't want to de-incentivize conference championships by punishing losers,
Yeah.
but I recall 2 years ago a number one Georgia team that had been undefeated all season. They lost in a very close game to a 10-2 number eight Bama team, and Georgia dropped out of the top four, while Alabama jumped all the way up to number four and made the playoff. Now, you want to talk about good and bad consequences for a conference championship game. Now, I know we're talking about a 12 team versus 14 playoff, and that's slightly different. I
Yeah.
sort of get that, but the logic should still be there. If there's no consistency in the committee's thinking, and I can't help but think, like, what if we lost like a big player to injury during the SEC championship
Mm,
this year?
that's yep.
What a
Yeah.
waste would that have been? It would have been
Yeah.
nice to beat Bama, right? But like as you move on into the playoffs, at what cost? I would
Hmm.
just rather told the SEC no thanks, sat out the game, take the L, and hosted a
Well,
first round
yeah. And
playoff game in Athens.
what what happened? Because like obviously now we know some of the conferences are finding, if you refuse to play, but like what happens if someone says, no, we're not going to play in our conference championship? Like what are
I
the
don't know.
ramifications? I assume
I
it's
don't
a
I,
fine.
There's got to be something in the bylaws laid down somewhere that
probably where you
says,
If
can't
there isn't,
refuse it
there
or
is
something.
now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, do you just get fined because what are you gonna do?
What makes it even more hilarious is the fact that the conference championship games that impacted the playoff the most were the American and the Sun Belt Conference
hmm
championships,
yeah,
which
yeah,
vault,
Big Ten meant nothing, the
which
SEC meant nothing,
yeah, because
the Big 12 meant nothing. Well, kind of.
it vaulted Tulane and James Madison from 20th and 24th all the way into the playoff. So
Yeah.
it's just a joke, and that automatic qualifier, as we've already talked about, it's got to be removed. I think when they sort of came up with it, it kind of made sense because you kind of had some of those teams right outside that window anyway. But once you start talking, a drastic change like this, you got to re-examine the spirit of the rule, and it just makes this whole thing into a
And
circus, and
there's way
nobody can
more.
take it seriously.